Next question is from Seth Bruce 96. What stabilizer muscle exercises do you recommend to help arms stop shaking when bench pressing?
Oh man. So do you guys, whenever you this doesn't happen
shoulder,
to me.
this is more shoulder than it is arm.
It is, but this hasn't happened to me in a long time. But as a kid, when I would have to take breaks from workouts, I remember I go back to this.
This is because you never take breaks. This happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
It's because you never take breaks ever.
Well,
this happens to me all the time. If I
you're
take
shaky, right?
Yeah, if I take 2 weeks off of lifting and I come back to like a movement like bench press. Oh yeah, the first day is so it's very normal to feel this. For someone like you who never misses,
nervous system kind of reactivating.
You have to go back to your teenage years, but this happens to me all the time. Whenever I fall off for 2 weeks and I haven't trained consistently, I go back and it's your CNS, and that's it. It's super normal, and it's like, I mean, can you do some stuff to like help stay? And I said shoulders, right? It's not your arms. It's your shoulders staying in position and staying in that fixed position, stabilizing while the arms. But the arms are shaking, but they're shaking because the shoulders are trying to get stabilized. So you could do some primers. Priming the shoulders and the shoulder girdle really well. That probably would mitigate some of that. But part of it's just going to happen. Yeah, and you'll adapt quickly.
And the priming. So a good example is this: if you've ever experienced this, you know that after the first or second set, the shakiness goes away. All of a sudden, the rep becomes smooth. And it's the CNS. The CNS has to organize the muscles and fire them in smooth, efficient ways. And when you don't train for a while or you're just getting started, it has to learn this. The CNS has to learn how to fire muscles properly while moving this weight in this particular way, keeping things smooth and efficient. And so it feels like your muscles are laughing almost, or they're kind of shaky. And you see this more common with some exercises than others. The best way to get rid of it is to practice the exercise often and to slow down the reps. That's really the only way to do it. And if you want to get rid of it in that same workout, it usually takes a set or two. As the muscles, because your CNS adapts that fast. It adapts that fast to where within the same workout, you should be able to get everything to push a little smoother.
It's so funny because, like, for example, like I know Ben Pollock, kind of like, he's a really strong guy, right? And he's been doing every kind of powerlifting movement, like loaded, not doing like no unilateral stuff, and then all of a sudden went to like lunges, for instance.
He was all wobbly.
Yeah, but it just happens to the best of us, is my point. To where like you introduce something that's a little bit different, and the body has to react completely to it in a different fashion. It's going to take that bit of time for your body to really acclimate to that.
No, that's a great analogy or example, because in unilateral movements it requires more stabilizer muscles because you don't have the other arm or other leg in it to stabilize. So yeah, I think that's a great example, and that's what's happening right now. And you just gave a good example of someone who is unbelievably conditioned, trained, strong as shit, but all he had to do was go from squatting 600-700 pounds, which he can do, to doing a body weight lunge. And he was shaky, and it's not because he's weak. It's just that he has those stabilizer muscles required to stabilize in a lunge position is very different than being able to squat bilaterally.
It's not a muscle thing; it's a CNS thing. I remember years ago. God, I'll never forget this. There was this bodybuilder, big guy. I don't know how much he weighed, but if I had to guess, he's probably 240 pounds, shredded, big dude. And then there was a weightlifter. It was a small guy, about 150 pounds. And the weightlifter was overhead pressing. I don't remember what the weight was, but it was a lot of weight, to the point where all of us were kind of impressed. Doing a standing overhead press, right? Everybody was really impressed. So the bodybuilder goes over to try it out, and the bodybuilder could lift the same weight, but it didn't look the same. He looked shaky, and you could tell he was kind of muscling it and not really stable. And then afterwards they were talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm not used to that movement. And the weightlifter's like, I practice this all the time. It's part of my lifts. The bodybuilder's like, I do this seated. I do this with dumbbells. I get pumps in my muscles. And it's just, the bodybuilder had bigger, stronger muscles, in the sense that those muscles probably contracted harder than that 150-pound weightlifter, but they couldn't organize the same way. They couldn't fire with the same efficiency. And that's why he had trouble lifting the same weight.